our headlines. Senator Tolentino prioritizes harnessing the Philippine blue economy through maritime law.
National Security Council and Department of Foreign Affairs expressed gratitude to Senate for passing the Philippine Maritime Zones Act.
Presence of Chinese Navy in the West Philippine Sea is worrisome, according to President Marcos.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. visited Australia to strengthen the alliance between the two nations.
And 13 senators signed panel report on the legalization of medical marijuana. Good evening, bringing you the latest news for tonight. I am ALVIN PELOBELLO.
And I am KRIZZA Lopez. This is your TV News Thread. Following the alleged abuse of Chinese Coast Guard troops of the Philippines in the West Philippine Sea, Senator Francis Tolentino has echoed the Philippine Maritime Zones Act. The Senate Bill for Maritime Law has been passed the upper chamber of Congress last Tuesday. More from this report. In order to strengthen the right of the Philippines to its territorial waters and exclusive economic zone, Senator Francis Tolentino prioritized the law that will emphasize the country's territory in compliance with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the 2016 arbitral ruling. Based on the Senate Bill No. 2492 or the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, which has already been passed in the third and final hearing, it clarifies the archipelagic boundaries of the Philippines and the extent to which the country's jurisdiction and sovereignty are effective, especially in the West Philippine Sea and Benham Rise, also known as the Talampas ng Pilipinas. According to Senator Tolentino, it will also consider the protection of the Filipino fishermen in the Philippine territory where there is a vast supply of resources. The senator explained that every year it is estimated that $1.5 trillion are lost in the country's blue economy, including high and low quality fish due to those who invade the country's territory. This is due to a lack of the Philippines domestic law or the law related to maritime. It is said that this is also what China often points out, that there is no law that the Philippines is following that declares its official territory, contrary to what was awarded by UNCLOS in the 2016 arbitral ruling. In 2022, the maritime industry's contribution to the country's economy was more than 800 billion pesos. If the Philippine economy is emphasized, it will contribute more to the growth of the economy, according to the senator.
So dahil dito sa batas na ito, nilagay na natin yung mga yung tamang mapa kung saan yung ating boundary. Nung araw, meron naligaw na barko ang China, military vessel sa Tawi-Tawi. So noong nilapitan ng Philippine Navy, ang sabi, bakit kayo nandyan? Ano naman to, international waters to eh. So, yun nasabing international water. Wala nga kayong maritime zone doon. Kaya pakalat-kalat lang doon yung loitering ang tawag doon sa naval vessel ng China. So, with the maritime zones law, maliwanag na kung saan talaga yung atin. So, ano yung pwedeng mangyari sa exclusive economic zone? Pwede tayong mag-explore, exploit ng ating natural resources. Pwede tayong mag-conduct ng scientific research. Pwede tayong mag-establish ng artificial islands.
The senator is also confident that other countries will respect the bill because almost all of them are signatories to the maritime law. He clarifies that if the Maritime Zones Law can be enacted, it will be forwarded to the United Nations to be recognized and approved. This is also where it can be discussed if there are overlapping territories from other countries such as territories of Taiwan and the Philippines.
Mapwera na lamang kung meron magkakaroon ng overlap doon sa isang bansa na meron din ganong maritime zone. Pag-uusap, merong provision ang ang UNCLOS kung saan pwedeng magkaroon ng usapan.
Tolentino admitted that there is also a necessity to strengthen the enforcement of the Philippines in order to succeed in the implementation of the bill. The lawmaker also hopes that the archipelagic sea lane that sets the route through which foreign vessels can pass through will be completed and passed this year. The senator claims that this is a solution to easily determine who enters the country and if there is a vessel that needs assistance. It is said that nowadays, foreign vessels are loitering inside the Philippine territory. Based on the information of the senator from the Philippine Coast Guard, there are approximately 11 active sea lanes in the country that can be passed through, but 3 sea lanes are to be enough according to Tolentino.
Halos lahat signatories sa Maritime Zone Law. Signatories lahat sila. Wala ako nakikitang hindi kikilala. Siguro dededma lang ng China pero lahat kikilalanin niya. And then yung next step natin dyan, yung ASL, yung Archipelagic Sea Lanes na hopefully may pasa ko rin ngayon bago
Another law?
Yes.
How do you call it, sir?
Archipelagic Sea Lanes. Ito naman yung daanan, carousel. Doon lang sila. So i-identify natin yon, merong coordinates. Doon lang magbabantay ang Philippine Navy, doon lang magbabantay ang Philippine Coast Guard para din yung ating mga mangingisda ay alam kung saan.
The senator says that this is important to enact and teach the new generation about the territory of the Philippines.
I hope this will be not just laymanized but explained even to young children.
Yeah.
Why our seas are that important as part of the national patrimony.
This is KRIZZA Lopez for Euro TV News.
Following the Senate approval to Philippine Maritime Zone Act, echoing the country's claims in the South China Sea, the Department of Foreign Affairs and the National Security Council expressed their gratitude, emphasizing the government's bold step towards protecting the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. More from this report.
The Department of Foreign Affairs thanked the Senate of the Philippines for its passage of Senate Bill No. 2492, or the Philippine Maritime Zones Act. The bill determines the part of the oceans inclusive for the country's archipelagic baselines, shows the extent of the territory of the Philippines, and indicates the country's 24 nautical miles contiguous zones. The Philippine Maritime Zones Act is among the priority legislations of President Bongbong Marcos' administration. The law also aims to harmonize the rules in the sea covered by the country based on the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The DFA, on the other hand, hopes for the immediate implementation of the proposal for the security to protect the Philippines' maritime resources. And a separate statement, the National Security Council also thanked for the passage of this measure. According to NSC Advisor Eduardo Año, this step is a proof of the protection of the country's maritime interest in the assertion of our sovereignty in the country's jurisdiction. Because of this, the NSC reaffirmed their commitment to maritime security, regional stability, and the implementation of the rules-based international order as they prepared to implement the proposal. Meanwhile, as part of his pre-departure before going to Canberra, Australia for a 2-day guest of government visit, President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has defended the sovereignty of the Philippines in the highly disputed territory in the South China Sea. ALVIN PELOBELLO for Euro TV News.
Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. admitted that he is worried about the recent activities of China in the West Philippine Sea. In his pre-departure for his state visit to Australia, Marcos said that before, the Chinese Coast Guard was the only element that was present in WPS. Now, aside from CCG, the Philippines has monitored the presence of Navy and foreign fishing boats in our exclusive economic zone. Thus, despite these conflicts, the Philippines stands firm that we are only defending our territories and will continue to support Filipino fishermen, Marcos said in an ambush interview. He reiterated that the country will continue to defend its territory and emphasized that our fishermen there will continue to be able to fish in their traditional fishing grounds that are within the Philippine EEZ.
Yeah, it's worrisome because there are two elements to that. One is that it's the dati Coast Guard lang ng China ang gumagalaw dun sa area natin. Ngayon, may Navy na, sumama pa mga fishing boat. So, nagbabago ang sitwasyon. But, well, maliwanag naman para sa atin. We just watch, of course, what everybody is doing. But really, for us, patuloy pa rin natin. We just defend our maritime territory. We continue to support all of our fishermen, our fisher folk.
The visit of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to Australia coincides with the expansion of its partnership in the Philippines. This is also to strengthen the cooperation and security between the two countries. Dan Villegas with the report.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. promised to deepen and strengthen bilateral ties between the Philippines and Australia during his visit to the country. The president's visit is also in response to an invitation extended by Governor General David Hurley. The president hopes that this visit will result in a stronger and closer relationship between the Philippines and Australia, which has spanned over 70 years, encompassing defense and security cooperation, economic collaboration, and people-to-people ties. His visit to Canberra also serves as reciprocation for the state visit of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and as a means to further expand the Philippines' steadfast commitment to cooperation and friendship with Australia. President Marcos stated that engaging with the Parliament of Australia will also involve discussions with the leadership of legislature, which is a crucial partner in ensuring a conducive and progressive policy framework for the continued upward trajectory of the Philippines-Australia relationship. This is Dan Villegas for your TV News.
Stay tuned for more stories as your TV News Thread returns.
Self-proclaimed son of God Apollo Quiboloy has been demanded by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to attend the Senate deliberations. Marcos said Quiboloy was subpoenaed by the Senate to defend himself to the allegations involving his name. Let's get more of the details from this report. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. encourages the leader of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, to attend the Senate hearing to answer and defend himself from the accusations against him. According to President Marcos, Quiboloy has the opportunity to tell his part to the Senate and Congress. If the pastor can directly state that there is no truth to the allegations regarding human trafficking and sexual abuse to the member of the church, according to the President, he should say so in the investigation. Both the House and Senate have issued subpoenas to summon Quiboloy,
but the pastor was represented by his legal counsel during the hearing. Recently, Senator KRIZZA Hontiveros, who is the chairperson of the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relation, and Gender Equality, warned that Quiboloy will be charged in contempt and will be arrested if he still does not show to investigation on March 5, 2024. Meanwhile, according to Senator Francis Tolentino, Quiboloy must respect the power and opinion of the president and also Quiboloy's right as a citizen of the country.
Respect the rights of Quiboloy, and pastor should likewise respect the rights of the president, the opinion of the president.
This is KRIZZA Lopez for Euro TV News.
The Supreme Court of the Philippines has demanded Public Attorney's Office Chief Attorney Percy Darueda Acosta to pay the amount of 180,000 pesos worth of fines for separate violations of her duty. Acosta will be fined 30,000 pesos for indirect contempt of the court, while 150,000 pesos for grossly undignified conduct prejudicial to the administration of justice. Based on the court's decision, Acosta was convicted due to the statements made in her post on Facebook that are directly visible to the public, and it is said that the intention of the court was clearly unconstitutional. The court also criticized the PAO's launch of public campaign that resulted in a conflict of interest in her role. The court is still set to issue the decision against Acosta, while the PAO chief has not released a statement regarding this. Acosta is also known as a courageous and assertive Public Attorney's Office chief.
The proposal for legalization of cannabis or marijuana on medical use has reached plenary debate following the endorsement of 13 senators who signed its proposed bill. In Committee Report number 210 submitted by Senate Committee on Health and Demography, Senate Bill number 2573 or the Cannabis Medicalization Act of the Philippines was signed by its sponsor, Senator Robin Padilla, among 12 other senators that recommended the approval of the said bill. The 12 other senators were Christopher Bongo, Ronald Bato de la Rosa, Sonny Angara, Joseph Ejercito, Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada, Mark Villar, Lito Lapid, Rafi Tulfo, Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr., Grace Poe, Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, and Senate Majority Leader Joel Villanueva. Senator Go Villar and Revilla signed with reservations, while Estrada, Poe Pimentel, and Villanueva noted with interpolate or making amendments during the report's progress. Proposed under Senate Bill number 2573 is the legalization and proper regulation of the medical uses of marijuana for qualified patients with severe, persistent, and serious medical conditions affecting their daily tasks, as indicated in Section 8 of the said bill. Creation of the Philippine Medical Cannabis Authority or PMCA shall also be introduced under the bill, which will be main authority to monitor and control medical cannabis and the bill's implementation.
The House Committee on Labor and Employment delivers the proposed bill seeking to impose 750 pesos across the board minimum wage. Labor groups and minority members has emphasized the basis of needs to address the national minimum wage and calls for scrapping the Regional Wages Board. More details in my report.
Some labor groups and lawmakers took action in protest simultaneously as the House Committee on Labor and Employment delivers the bill seeking to increase wages for Filipino workers. During the Chamber's hearing, House Assistant Minority Leader and Gabriela Women's Party Representative Arlene Brosas said that the huge expenses of every Filipinos should be the basis of the discussion for salary increases. According to Brosas, the high inflation rate in the country reflects to this measure.
Workers' groups have argued that among the factors to consider in the determination of minimum wages, wage boards should give more weight on the demand for living wages.
Also attended the hearing was the Trade Union Congress in the Philippines, or TUCP, requesting for the passage of House Bill number 7568, which requires a 750 pesos national minimum wage throughout the country.
Tigit 3 dekada na baryang-baryang increase Congress must act now to pass this urgent, actionable, and reasonable legislative wage hike. Sahod itaas na ngayon na.
It is said that all types of Filipino workers in any field, whether private or public, will have an equal wages throughout the country.
Ang tunay ng halagang lahat ng minimum wages dahil sa inflation, Mr. Chair, my dear colleagues, sa lahat ng ating 17 regions ay mas mababa. Ubos.
Meanwhile, we recognize the impact of mandating wage increases on micro and small businesses, which is why the government must act by providing wage subsidies to ensure that their workers receive fair wages while ensuring the survival of their businesses.
According to labor lawyer attorney Luke Espiritu, there are many ways Filipino workers make other way to meet the high cost of living in the country, particularly sacrificing for overtime work.
Pagkatapos magtrabaho ng manggagawa, kailangan niya pang maghanap ng iba't ibang mga pamamaraan para punuan ang kakulangan sa kanyang cost of living.
Labor groups in the minority also demanded for the dissolution of the Regional Wage Board and called for the return of national minimum wage for all Filipino workers. The Senate last week passed Senate Bill number 2534, or the additional 100 pesos daily minimum wage increase Act of 2003 proposed by Senator Bongo. Currently, the minimum wage for National Capital Region-based workers is at 600 pesos per day. ALVIN PELOBELLO for EuroTV News.
After all, the movie of Beauty Gonzalez and Kelvin Miranda premiered on Sunday. Our senior news correspondent Vanessa Cleopas has more details on her report.
The long wait is over. The movie After All, starring Beauty Gonzalez, Kelvin Miranda, and TJ Marquez, along with Devon Seron and other well-known personalities, will be shown nationwide in all cinemas in the country. But before that, let's take a look at their recent premiere night attended by their fans and close friends in showbiz.
Kelvin?
They are just a few of those who showed their support for the movie After All, which you can now watch in cinemas nationwide. The said movie was inspired by the love story of the past and present that will touch and catch your heart, providing lessons and inspiration. The movie is led by actress Beauty Gonzalez, who will portray Zarina, and Kelvin Miranda as Joseph. During their recent premiere night, fans can't stop screaming on the red carpet as the cast of the said film arrived.
Hey, Kelvin?
The cheers grew even louder when Beauty and Kelvin arrived, which delighted the fans.
Sana supportahan mo natin yung pinikulong Pilipino. Ayan, after all, ito na.
Help us spread the word, and thank you so much. I hope you guys will enjoy the film. And I'm mga Kelty. Oh my God, my fans ako, Kelty!
Meanwhile, Beauty became slightly emotional due to the overwhelming support for the movie, wherein fans witnessed their success in portraying their roles. It can be remembered that Beauty and Kelvin last worked together back in 2021 in their collaboration Loving Miss Bridget. After All can be seen in over 102 cinemas nationwide. The said film is also under the direction of the award-winning filmmaker director Adolfo Alice Jr. under ALVIN Films. Vanessa Cleopas for EuroTV News.
And that's the latest news for tonight. Thanks for tuning in. You may visit yourtvph.com for more news and information. Once again, I am KRIZZA Lopez.
You can also catch our broadcast live in our social media accounts and via Pinoy Extreme channel. I'm ALVIN PELOBELLO. This is your TV News Thread. Stay safe and have a good night, everyone.